Well, the recruiting season, I think, is officially heating up now. Heading into June visits, Tennessee hosted their annual 865 Live recruiting bonanza,
Mm-hmm.
Bob, and as always, it's going to be an important day on the Tennessee recruiting calendar.
Yeah, the 865 Live event is always huge for recruiting. It's basically just a have fun. They do scavenger stuff. They do some competition stuff. But it's just basically a feel good, have fun kind of thing. And we've had great success in the past. Uh, the the amount of commits we get out of here, out of this event, is always,
Particularly after if they have June officials.
yeah, it's usually really good. I mean, you get them here then, you get them feeling good, having a good time, have good memories.
Yeah, the families come in,
Yeah,
and everybody, just their
a lot
little
of,
brothers
yeah,
might be
a lot of
involved. It's
smiling,
just
a lot of
fun.
happy times, and then they come back for the official visit, more serious talks, and then usually commitment to somebody is coming soon after that. So I think we do really good when we get guys here, and we had a bunch of really good players here this weekend.
What we did, Bob, a lot of long time um, targets were in this weekend. I guess it really starts off with Braden Rouse, the linebacker, top five-ish linebacker in the country. It's been a big boy battle for him,
Yeah,
and but if you look at some of our competitors' websites, they seem to think Tennessee's in the lead spot right there. We were the first to offer him before he blew up and become such a hot commodity.
yeah,
And it looks like if nothing don't change, we've got a good shot to bring him in. And that really speaks, Bob, to the emphasis I believe Tennessee really put on the linebacker position since that first year Josh Heupel was here, and they didn't even have a scholarship linebacker available for spring practice.
yeah. They've made a huge upgrade in talent there. I mean, we've actually pretty well loaded there at talent. The talent there, a lot of it's young, but um, when we get in Rouse, if we get him, makes another extremely nice addition at that linebacker group. You got, Aaron Carter, T-Lander, Spillman, and you got the freshman from last year, man. That's a
Well,
good group.
we had the best linebacker group that I can recall in
Probably,
many
yeah,
years.
that was a good group. And, we throw Rouse in there, that'd be a nice get. You,
It
you
just
don't have a lot of numbers in this class for that position, I feel like. But that's good because we got a lot of young guys, and there probably not going to be a lot of, people seeing the field for a little while. Cause unless somebody like Rouse, they could. They're that level of player that could they can beat about anybody now.
Well, I'll tell you what, we've not seen a lot of on-field production out of these young guys yet, but I think
I
it
think
pays
we
off
will.
this year. I think this
Yeah.
year our linebacker class is going to be, our core is going to be a strength of the team.
Yeah.
Um, one thing I've noticed, Bob, is this I was about to call it Lollapalooza, that was the original name of
Yeah.
it, uh, before they changed 865 Live, was the amount of in-state prospects um, a lot more this year. Seems like they've the last several weeks have put out multiple offers in state.
Yeah. I think Tim. Eh, I think there could be somewhat of a small philosophy changes, and in today's world of NIL and portal, I feel like we're constantly probably changing that philosophy because
Well, you got to reevaluate yourself as a team every year, right? They say they do.
yeah.
They say they reevaluate their coaches. Well, obviously you need to reevaluate your recruiting strategy also.
Well, I mean, when you got Nico's situation is a prime example. You paid him five something $1 million while he was here, and you got 1 year out of it. So
Mediocre one at that.
yeah, so um, you know, there's a lot of thinking about looking at guys when you're looking at recruiting these guys. Okay, is this guy's going to be somebody who he's going to be wanting the bigger bag? The next year, am I going to end up paying him for 2 years and not get anything out of him? Or do you go for a guy here that you think that's in state that might be a little bit more loyal and maybe do some portal guys. I mean, maybe if you're overpaying for a portal guy, at least you're getting, kind of know what you got.
I'd rather overpay for 1 year that I get a lot of production versus 3 years where you can get a good bargain and the guy probably never sees the field until the third year.
Right. I mean, well, man, this is a lot of stuff the coaches think about. I'd love to sit down in a room with the coaches and with them.
Well, it's a balancing act. I mean, they're not going all in on one side of that coin versus the other side of the coin. But they have shifted some this year.
Yeah.
And they're hoping to get the home state discount and the home state loyalty, I believe, for several players. But that said, that's not to say some of these guys aren't extremely sought after.
Right.
Start off with Joel Hyatt, Bob, one of the top athletes in the country, top 100-ish player. A lot of people look at him as DB. He was on the campus again today. I thought for a while this might be one that Tennessee was slipping on a couple months ago, but it seems like we've surged back to the front.
Yeah.
And he's a kid that people are even saying he's got the body frame to put on enough size to eventually become a Leo. Now that seems to be that's a lot of weight. It's a lot of weight. But I mean, this kid, regardless of where you play this kid, get him on your team. Well, play ball.
And I tell you what, I think one of the most underrated aspects of a coach is not just recruiting and coaching, but it's identifying players and finding where they fit the best and finding their, where they're going to grow at. Because a lot of these kids, they're going to put on some weight. Some of them going to put on 5-10 pounds. Some of them going to put on 50. So you got to identify them guys who's going to put on 50 and start putting them in that position.
Well, it's funny, Bob, that years ago, we probably made some jokes about it, but you'd hear the coaches talk about ankle size and different things like that.
Yeah.
And it was simply because they're looking at any indication they can find to see the growth potential for these guys.
Yeah.
Where they're going to be at in 2 years in a weight program.
Right.
Some people are never going to put on this size.
Right. Yep. And I've seen them turn away some outstanding high school football players who you would have thought would have been more highly recruited, but I felt like that's what it was. It was they just felt like they didn't have that. They weren't going. They had kind of peaked early.
But Kamari Breyer, he canceled a visit to Kentucky and going to give us an official instead. Got him up here for this event.
Right.
Seemed to have really done well considering we had such a late offer to him. I think we're not going to be penalized for that, I don't believe. I think we're firmly in the mix.
Feels like a guy who we're going to go in after late and get. Feels like to me.
It does have that feeling at this point. Now, a guy that we didn't go in late after, we've been in for a long, long time, Craig Tutt, defensive back, he's a guy that I've heard his name for over a year now. Seemed like he's another one like Joel White that I felt we were slipping on just a little while back. But as of today, I feel pretty good about Craig Tutt. I think the staff has reemphasized him, let him know he's a priority again. And DBs, we've actually offered several in state here lately to go along with Tutt. You've got Zay Anderson, and what's the other kid's name? Jamin Theodore.
Yeah.
Just two recent offers that we brought up here for this event. And, of course, we had Brody Smith, local offensive tackle, offensive that was on campus too. But I guess one in-state guy, Bob, that really kind of big getting him back up here was a long-time commit, maybe a very, very long-time commit, Carson Sneed.
Yeah, he was a guy who, Tim, we felt like was a slam dunk early on. Then he committed because his brother was playing here. And big-time tie-in guy, somebody we really, really wanted. And then it seemed like he was slipping away, and it was at the point that...
Yeah, his brother transferred out, had some not kind things
on social media
Yeah.
about Tennessee.
It basically looked like that one, Carson Snead, was gone. Um, but I think we've weathered the storm, and it looks like we got a decent chance of pulling that one in, which is unusual because when those in the recruiting world, when you go from that situation, those rarely flip back.
Yeah, yeah, it's odd to get a near decommitment or a decommitment back, but we actually might get a couple of decommitments back, Bob. A couple of guys we were in on early and got commitments from early that then later blew up and decommitted from us was on campus.
Yeah.
Starting off with offensive lineman Brandon Anderson, Bob.
Yeah. He was a guy I felt like we got in on early, got that offer, and it was probably his best offer. And then some other offers, better offers than what he had been getting come in. So he started to reevaluate. But I feel like we are probably back in the leader position for that one.
Yeah, I think we've got the momentum on that one. Tyson Bacon was our other decommitment.
Mm-hmm.
He also blew up after not getting a lot of attention till the Tennessee offer.
Yeah.
And I don't have as much recent information on him.
Right.
But anytime you're a defensive lineman and Charlie Garner and Coach Chop are recruiting you,
You got a chance.
you got a chance to get him back up. And
Right.
so I'm feeling great there. One quote surprised, well, it was more of a secret visitor than a surprise visitor to the coaching
Right.
staff. Bob, number one running back in the country, Savion Hyder, showed up
Yeah.
for the event.
That was a big one. That's one we probably should mention right off the bat because that one was probably the headliner of this group. 5-star guy, great film. He's just a guy who, and he's a guy who, we talked about money management, spending money on guys not getting anything out of. Wouldn't be bad to spend money on running backs because they typically play early.
They do.
You're getting that money, return on investment, I guess.
Exactly. You get an early return on investment. Now, not all of them can come straight in because of pace block,
Right.
but they can actually get on the field some
Yeah.
and get you some production right off the bat. Yeah. And the really great ones can get you immediate production.
And I think one thing about that too, Tim, you know what you got usually with them early on. With some offensive linemen, some defensive linemen, some of these other positions, you think you know what you got. You're still kind of, okay, this guy's going to physically get there. The technique going to get down. I think this player's going to be good. I'm not sure. You get a running back in, right off the bat, okay, this guy's going to be a future all SEC type back, or you pretty much know what you got with these guys. They do have to learn to pass pro, but you kind of know what you got, and then that way in the future, hey, this guy, we're talking about money management. Do we want to re-sign him basically for next year when he starts wanting more money, or do you say, okay, this guy's not the 5-star we thought, or whatever,
Yeah, it's not the developmental position that a lot of positions are.
Yeah.
You can tell quicker. Now, Bob, we're following up here soon. June official visits are right around the corner. I don't think we're going to have the highest rated class this year is what I would have swore to you a couple, 3 months ago.
Right.
But I don't think it's anything to panic about, though.
Yeah.
I believe we've been mostly built through the high school ranks and going to get a few portal players. In this past class, I think they wind up overpaying for what they believe they got in the high school ranks. And it kind of, after they had to pay to keep people from getting into the portal, we wasn't very active in the portal. And I think the staff realizes that come winter portal next year, we got to have a better idea of who to go after, and we got to have the money to go reel them in.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to see a little bit less spent on this high school class.
like you said several times, money management on that part of it,
Right.
increasing your in-state haul, getting a few guys here and there
Mm-hmm.
that are top level, and particularly at certain positions
Right.
that they truly value.
You know what, Tim? I was going to say something. You know, we throw our opinion out there on a lot of stuff, and that's just what it is. I mean, we're just a couple Tennessee fans who've been following recruiting and Tennessee football since we was little enough to know what football was, and we just enjoy doing this kind of stuff. We do it all the time, and you know, so we're not experts, but we love to give our opinion on it and discuss philosophy and what's going on and is this good and is this bad. It's just something we've always enjoyed doing. But I hope y'all enjoy it and y'all get something out of it. Uh, remember to like, subscribe, comment, hit that notification bell. And what else you got to add, Tim?
Nothing other than thank you so much for joining us today. Have a great week. Enjoy Memorial Day, and go Big Orange.
Go Vols.